He's done talking. Facebook, I think it's a good trade right here.
Okay. And finally, Bryn.
Goldman Sachs. They've got Marcus. They've got Apple Credit Card, private equity.
I like this one for 2022.
All right. Farmer Jim.
Yeah, not tweaking my boy Joe. He knows I love him, but this Goldman move is one of the biggest overreactions I've seen in a long time. You're supposed to step in right now and buy this.
Wow, buyer. Okay, down 8.5%. That's interesting. Joe, you go next.
I'm with Pete on Citigroup. It lagged last year, which means it's going to catch up this year.
Okay, Shan.
I think it goes much higher.
Okay, Farmer Jim, wrap it up.
Yep, Goldman Sachs 20% off on sale right now, 1.2 times tangible.
Higher.
Okay,
This is the one to
I gotta go. Jim, go ahead, and then Weiss.
Alaska Airlines.
Farmer Jim.
NXP Semiconductors.
And boy, Jim's favorite CEO. I'm even more enamored of Cleveland Cliffs. So
I like Disney for the reopening play. The flywheel's working. Disney Plus is accelerating. Stock's been out of favor. It's flat for the year, and I see some more upside on this one.
Jim, a quickie?
Boeing is up today because the news is.
Jim.
Yeah, I really believe industrials in general are undervalued right now, and one of the solid industrials right there in the middle of the pack is Raytheon Technologies. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's going to give you very good returns over time.
Missiles might knock one of your.
Farmer Jim.
Yeah, this may seem like a cop-out, but spiders, okay? I don't want this moment to get lost on anyone about whether they should be in CrowdStrike or Cleveland Cliffs. This is a time to get into the market. I've been consistent on that during the show, and spiders are the way to do it.
Yeah, but I thought you said that it's a stock, like you got to pick stocks, not buy indices.
Okay, then buy Cleveland Cliffs and Paramount.
I mean, you did say that.
Yes!
All right, Farmer Jim.
Union Pacific. I think Stephanie was talking about this yesterday, but if we're going to keep doing the supply chain onshoring, there's going to need to be transportation of goods and materials. Union Pacific is way underlooked and needs to be paid attention to.
Yeah, you guys are definitely feeling the same vibe. She bought that.
Trying to look interesting.
All right, Farmer Jim.
Paramount continually underestimated by analysts.
All right, good stuff. I'll see you in overtime.
Well, go fitting, right? Alaska Airlines, because as I said yesterday, all the airlines pre-announced positively. They are seeing tremendous demand, and they're raising prices to take care of fuel costs.
Okay, thank you. Amy Raskin. All right, good seeing you, pal. Farmer Jim, wrap it up.
Thank you.
Citigroup, loan demand picking up along with credit quality.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in overtime. Jim Lebenthal.
Wynn Resorts.
Yesterday in that stock and Farmer Jim.
I'm with Pete in Transocean.
Right. Jim, if you would, please.
Paramount, I think it's the winner in the streaming wars, and I think the market's realizing that.
Okay. Stephanie Link. Forward.
And shoots much higher from there.
Okay. Jim with Kinder Morgan. Jenny owns Kinder Morgan as well, and Jenny Harrington. I cut you off earlier during the show, Jenny. I probably could have been more eloquent in how I did that, so my apologies to you.
Higher income.
Farmer Jim, quick.
Raytheon Technologies.
Okay. Joe.
Jim Lebenthal.
Yeah, Citigroup, Mel. The yield curve is steepening and rising, which is also going to benefit Jason's PNC. But also the sentiment on this particular name has changed since earnings came out last Thursday. It's very easy to tell.
Dr. J. John for it.
Okay. Good seeing you today. Farmer Jim.
Cleveland Cliffs. It's a simple cash flow story. That's all there is to it. Cash flow is king.
You should have said touche like before you did that. I see you. All right.
Opportunity for some upside here.
All right. Farmer Jim.
Paramount reports earnings tomorrow morning. Scott will be on with you tomorrow. You know I'm not going to hide.
I know you're not at all, Jim. And that space, man. I can't wait to see that report because that space, I'm trying to look at it right now. Joe, go ahead. Farmer Jim, let me guess. Paramount Global.
Yeah, well, it's really the best trade I see right now. Maybe that's because Top Gun Maverick comes out this month. I'm not sure. Submariners and aviators don't really get along, but I'll still go watch that. It's only one of many reasons to own Paramount.
I had a feeling you were going to pick that one. And again, it's well off its lows of the day. I just want to keep pointing that fact out. All right, John. Okay, Farmer Jim.
NVIDIA, whether you believe my correction call or not, we're at least due for a relief rally. Semis should lead, and this is the biggest impact within the sector.
Okay. Stephanie Lane. Okay. All right. And Farmer Jim, right here to my
Yeah,
left.
Scott,
It's been great having you on set.
You too.
Thanks
Nice
for coming
to see
down
you.
here.
Nice to see you in person.
What do you
Very
got?
nice. Yeah, you know, with where the market is, Scott, I think you play the ball.
Farmer Jim.
Yeah. A laggard in the energy space, Kinder Morgan, I really think it's starting to break out right here, and it should. Has almost a 6% dividend yield, and it's transporting mainly natural gas, which we know is in high demand here in the U.S. and abroad. So Kinder Morgan, I think, is breaking out.
Okay. What do you got? Helping the overall market as well. Farmer Jim, you're last.
Yep. Wynn Resorts. The big picture is what sold this down, but when you look at company results, the stock should be going higher.
All right. I'll see you in just a bit.
25th.
Farmer Jim, you got 45 seconds. I saved you for last. If you want to expand on where we started this conversation, I appreciate you being so open and honest with people.
Yeah, I think the only thing I will say is we only find out who's right in hindsight. There's no way that I can pound the table and say that I know. I don't know what the future holds. I use my experience and analytical ability to give you the best I've got. Obviously, people are going to disagree with that. I understand it and I respect it. Anyway, thank you for letting me say that. Final trade is NXP Semiconductors. If, as I believe, we're in a growth.
Okay, very interesting. Farmer Jim, why don't you wrap it up?
Probably no surprise, Scott. Cleveland Cliffs, you know how I feel about the company. And
Yes, I do.
If there's no recession, I understand you met Mr. Gonsalves not that long ago.
I
That
did.
must
I
have been
ran into
fun.
him on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. He said he watches every day, and he loves you. I mean, for obvious reasons. You're the biggest promoter of his
He's doing a phenomenal
stock.
job. He's doing a phenomenal job. It's my final trade.
All right, good stuff. Okay. Farmer Jim.
Disney, I expect a knock-on effect from what I've.
Jim Lebenthal.
Yeah, Paramount. I saw the movie Top Gun over the weekend. I thought it was really fabulous. But besides that, this is the 5th #1 movie they've had this year. The company just keeps going from strength to strength. They keep exceeding their streaming subscriber counts. Everything's going right at Paramount, and it's finally, I think, starting to get the respect it deserves.
I just watched Top Gun the other day. Ready for Maverick now. Josh Brown.
I saw Top Gun also in the theater. It was unbelievable. I agree. I totally agree with Jim. A.O. Smith.
Joe T, just quickly.
My man right here, Farmer Jim.
Raytheon Technologies, defense spending is not going down any.
Farmer Jim.
Union Pacific, just going back to my thesis that you've got supply chain onshoring, a lot of construction that's going to go on in the next few years. That's a lot of material that has to be transported in bulk, in aggregate. Railroads are the way to do it.
Okay. And Josh Brown.
My own transport.
Good stuff. Farmer Jim.
Boeing.
Okay.
CRISPR.
CRISPR. Okay.
Jim Lebenthal.
In this ongoing discussion amongst many of us about being in purgatory, CVS is a defensive name with a good dividend yield rate.
All right. I will see you tonight at 5 on Fast Money. That does it for us here in halftime. The exchange.
It's very resilient. I like it.
All right, Jim.
Thermo Fisher, great healthcare company, and it's what I'm recommending because I think we're stuck right now while we wait for more information on inflation and earnings. So it feels like a safe place to be.
Farmer Jim.
Okay. Well, it's funny you mentioned China, and Wynn Resorts is my final trade, but actually not because of China. It's really because the U.S. operation's doing much better than people expected. This is a case where analyst estimates have been going up during the year, and as much as we've been pillorying analysts for potentially being wrong, I don't think they're wrong in raising estimates given room rates and traffic in Las Vegas.
Josh Brown.
Forward, Jim.
Yep, David, you mentioned that semis are starting to peak up a little bit, a lot more to go. Qualcomm hasn't been given its justice for the amount of diversification it's been doing in its revenue stream.
Love the management.
Okay. Farmer Jim.
Delta Airlines. I like airplanes. Look, the last earnings call, really, the CEO, Mr. Bastian, was just giddy with how good things are. I don't think anything's changed, and the earnings are coming up next week.
Yeah, short TLT.
All right.
Rates going high.
Farmer Jim.
Autos and semis come together in.
You, Farmer Jim.
Yeah, the last 2 quarters that Netflix has reported, it's laid an egg, and it's weighed on Disney and Paramount. I don't know if they're going to lay an egg this time, but I think the risk is to the upside. I don't think people are going to be fooled because the last 2 quarters, Disney did much better in operating results than Netflix.
Yeah. Paramount not doing well right now either. Stephanie Link.
On a
Print. All right. And Farmer Jim, to wrap it all up for us.
Yep, Boeing, a little bit to tweak my friend Steve, but also because this was one heck of a week in terms of order announcements for Boeing. Of course, they do have earnings coming up next week, so Steve may be.
Okay. Josh Brown, thank you very much. Jim Lebenthal, Farmer Jim.
NXP Semiconductors. I got sandbagged discussing it last night by Walmart. That's my final trade today.
Farmer Jim.
I am long my new position in ExxonMobil, Scott. I'm also long my friendship with Steve Weiss.
As Weiss apparently is questioning it.
He's on the other side of every
you know.
trade I've got.
Exactly. You guys, you're all good. Come on. For me.
Yeah, we are good friends. Good friends.
Okay. Liz.
All right, Farmer Jim, last word.
Yeah, General Motors, because this is one of several stocks that traded down on earnings that were actually pretty good, but then once it's found its footing, it started to rise again, and I think that's going to continue.
And on the apparel side.
Okay, Farmer Jim.
Qualcomm, this is another one of those stocks that responded poorly to earnings, but now is regaining its footing, much like GM last week. That's my final trade.
Okay, and Joe T.
Reestablish.
ETF.
We reestablish. Have you first up?
Boeing just delivered its first 787 in, I think, 15 months. That's a very good sign.
Carrie?
And it's off to the races.
All right, Jim, you got the final word.
I got a twofer here because I almost did Disney, but Brenda took that for me. That was very nice. But I'm going to go with Citigroup. 4% dividend yield, single multiple. And you know what? At some point, those buybacks.
Farmer Jim.
Boeing, we talked about the United order. Hanging out there is an Air India order. There's the potential extension of the 737-7 deadline for certification.
Farmer Jim.
Well, I like
backing up the tractor on what?
Yep, with old green and yellow here, Deere Company. Look, I like
Perfectly.
industrials.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. All right, I didn't even look.
I thought that's what you're.
No, I was just figuring you're back up the tractor, buy something. What is it?
Well, look at all these names. They're kind of cyclical, right? Almost all of them. I'm not quite sure about Arch Capital, but nonetheless, this is a cyclical list here. Deere's right on there. Industrials are where you want to be right now.
Okay, Bill.
Rockwell Automation. Let's talk about a stock expecting double-digit earnings
tied to that region.
Farmer Jim.
Boeing, I think the stock is done being a punching bag. Up 40% in 2 months, but today's pullback gives you an opportunity. Alaska Airlines. Scott, and I think everybody knows how I feel about the economy, that we're not headed for a recession. Even within the airlines, this is the best of the bunch. And I say that based on their release yesterday that they're going to start share repurchases in early 2023. They're amongst the first. They may be the first to do that in the airline industry. Reflects their strong balance sheet and their projections for strong financial performance in 2023.
Okay. Better than Delta. You own Delta too, right?
A little bit of Delta, but
Bastion
more Alaska.
was pretty bullish.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirby was bullish from United.
Delta's
No big